guy in the NBA should ever wear 23. I've been working on that shot my whole life, and for that one to go in, that was liberating right there, man.
And I'm not shoving it aside, like it don't mean anything. I know it's important. I do. I honestly do. But we talking about
23 Shots of JD podcast.
Hey guys, welcome back to the 23 Shots of JD podcast. God, I think I was meant to say something beforehand, but I don't know. Hopefully it comes back to me. But interesting week in sports, I guess. I don't know. It always seems to be interesting in the headlines and stuff like that. But I think one of the most intriguing things, especially for, I guess, maybe someone my age, if there's new listeners out there, I am, in my early 20s. So as a youngster, not even young, it's weird saying youngster to yourself and referring to yourself as young, but you know what I mean? Someone that watches, I'm sort of like in this sort of ether of athletes where sort of it's been this promotion towards recognizing your value as a young individual and trying to maximize your value as well. And we saw that in the past, and in the 80s and the 90s as well, when they started, introducing high school players going straight into the league and stuff. But it's sort of being more sort of player empowerment as of late, and especially for the young athletes. And I think that's none more evident in the whole. I don't even know if you could even say news, or it's weird. It's like this whole sort of storyline, I guess you could say, surrounding Zion Williamson and how I think it was just on the jump, Scottie Pippen. I don't know if it was a throwaway comment. I don't know if he sort of meant it deeply. It was sort of a random comment just as a whole. But he sort of said that if he was Zion, or he feels potentially advising Zion, that he would tell him to sit out the rest of the college game because he thinks he solidified the number one spot in the draft, and realistically, you're not helping, once you reach the top, you're not really helping your draft stock, get better. Like, in 2K, when you get an A+ in a My Player rating, then you just like, you keep doing more stuff, you get more VC and stuff and all that, but your teammate grade's not going to go up. And that's basically what it is. You're going to be the first pick. Is he the best player? I think he's the best player. Obviously, there's a lot of doubts around that. Some people think RJ Barrett's the best player. Even some people think Ja Morant from Murray State's the best player. There's a lot of sort of convoluted ideas surrounding who's number one. But I think, who's not number one? Sorry, who's the best player? But who should be the number one pick? Because being the number one pick, there's so many other surrounding factors around that. Who's going to be the number one? Who's going to get the number one pick? What team? Sort of what the demands are. Fan support, sneaker. There's so many things that go into that. So that's why I think Zion Williamson is probably going to be number one, because even though he's debated if he's the best player, he outshines every other player in regards to what he brings to the whole franchise. Let it be marketability, let it be just sheer money, you know what I mean? So that's why I think Zion Williamson's number one. But, going back to the actual point that I was going to try and make is that I think it's ridiculous to suggest that Zion Williamson should sit out. And I know I'm always about pro play, and I think trying to maximize your money, because, sports are unforgiving, and, a lot of people, it's a short career. It's a short career. And, if you're not a really popular player, you're not, very articulate per se, maybe not academically strong, it's rare that, you're going to become a commentator or reporter, trainer. Obviously there is a lot of positions, and it's evident that a lot of ex-players get those positions, but, there's so many people playing the NBA, and not everyone's going to get a job in regards to basketball. So, it is a very fickle sort of career path to take. But, yeah, again, to the point, telling Zion to sit out of college because he's solidified the number one pick is dumb. I think it's dumb. And the reason why I think it's dumb is because if he was solely worried about being the number one pick, or let's say even just trying to make money and an actual career out of basketball, there would have been so many other avenues. He could have gone to China and destroyed in China. He could have gone to, you know, the G League and destroyed in the G League. You know, there's so many other options for this guy, but it's quite clear that he wants to go to Duke, not only to, I guess, maybe slightly bolster his name, but play with some great players, play with some of the best of his peers, play in play in a system which is world-renowned and sort of viewed as the benchmark of college basketball. You know, play with one of the most legendary coaches. He's not only one of the best coaches in college, but this guy coaches NBA players as well. People, you know, that's something you don't undermine. Yes, he's going to yes, he's going to Duke to be coached by Coach K, and he's coached so many great Duke players. You know, so many that you can, you know, just rattle off the top of your head. Things, you know, people like Grant Hill, Christian Laettner, Jay Williams. Mike Dunleavy Jr. But you know, so many, you know, a myriad of players that came through the Duke system. But then on top of that, this guy's the coach of USA Basketball, and we're talking the likes of LeBron James, Kobe Bryant, Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving. You know, there's so many names, and not only does this guy, as you would say, this guy, like a god in Coach Krzyzewski, play or has mentored a bunch of people in college, but he's also been able to mentor people like professionals as well. So that's something that valuable experience you can't really get, and especially at this sort of volume that Zion's getting it, which is basically on basically on an everyday basis sort of type deal. You know, with always there coaching, mentorship, everything. So that's what at one point, and then you know, sometimes you just want to play. Yeah, sometimes you just want to play, and some, you know, people, I would like to think, especially if you're going to succeed in any facet of life, let it be basketball or university, working in corporate life or whatever, you want to go in there with the right intentions, and money's never the right intentions generally. Perhaps maybe it's a solidifying factor, especially with a lot of these athletes, not even in America, but all over the world, South America even, you know, they look at you know, becoming an athlete as a ticket, as a meal ticket basically, to get their family a better life. But when they're 5 years old, 6 years old, 4 years old, they're not thinking about that. They just want to play the game, and they play the game because it's fun. And you know, now it's the commoditization of, I don't know if that's a word, but the commoditization of sports, and make it such an economic entity within sort of the atmosphere of how we sort of approach life. These players and these athletes, especially youngsters, and I definitely feel that as well. Someone that's young and I love to play sport, I wanted to be a professional athlete, you know, at times. But, you know, that sort of transpired. But I kept playing the sport because I did it for fun. And I think Zion Williamson plays the sport for fun. I think LeBron James plays the sport for fun. Everyone plays the sport for fun. And if it wasn't fun, then you wouldn't play it. And that's why you retire. That's why you see so many people retire. You know, Michael Jordan's speech, like, he's lost motivation for the game, and he wants to challenge himself at a further level. You know, there's so many examples where you just play the game to play the game. To say that he should sit out to solidify the number one pick, but the guy could get injured tomorrow, tripping over, you know, someone's foot. Like, we saw that with Tony Ferguson, the UFC fighter. The guy had a freak accident. He tripped over like a wire or, you know, something in the media rooms of Fox Sports, and he tore his knee, or, you know, or broke. Let's say, you know, he injured his leg badly to the point where he couldn't defend his belt. They forcibly relinquished his belt, and then the next fight is a 3-round fight where he's not making near as much money as he was before. You know, that's just what it is with sports. That's the risk you have to take sometimes, and if to suggest that Zion Williamson should sit out for the remainder of the season, what is that, like 5 months maybe? 5 months. That would be actually 5 months, including. It would be 5 months, including like the sorry, I sort of got interrupted there. It would be 5 months, including the oh jeez. I really lost my spot. Sorry, guys. Yeah, 5 months, including the whole NBA draft process and stuff like that. If he were to sit out, the guy could get injured. Doing the drills with the teams that are looking to draft him. Maybe he gets injured trying to do a 45-inch vertical at the combine. There's so many other factors that contribute to this guy potentially getting injured. And to suggest that he should just wrap himself in bubble wrap, preserve himself, maybe go in the cryo chamber, freeze himself, and then transport him to 5 months later. Yes, I agree. Maybe I do agree in at the point that yes, if he did nothing the whole season, like if he just stopped playing and he did nothing the whole season, yes, he could easily be the number one pick in the draft. Like yes, he could easily be that. I agree. He could literally do nothing. He could do nothing, and he could probably be the number one pick in the draft. And often that's probably sometimes the benefit of the player. This type of mystery where if you can't critique the game, how can you say really anything negative about it? So yes, I agree. It's at that standpoint, but that should not be the only standpoint. And if Zion Williamson, being straight up now, if Zion Williamson wants to play basketball just purely for the money, he's not going to succeed at all. And that's just being brutally honest. And that's the same response I'll give any player, irrespective of their skill set, irrespective of their physical gifts. If they're only doing something, this is really irrespective of anything in life. Why are you studying for this certain job? Why are you going for this certain... why are you studying for this certain degree? Why are you going for a certain job? If your pure motivation is just for money, then 1, you're not going to succeed at it, and 2, you're not going to be happy. And that's just the truth sometimes. And again, that sort of even follows the people looking at the Clemson quarterback Trevor Lawrence. There was that Wall Street Journal article where they're like, oh, he should just sit out 2 months and then he'll still be the number one pick. Yes, I agree with the sentiment that if he sat out for 2 years, he would still be the number one pick. He was a freak. He was a freak. But what the fuck is this guy gonna do for 2 years? Just sit around, do nothing. And again, if he's only playing the sport for the money, you're not gonna succeed. But I guarantee you, Trevor Lawrence at 6 years old wasn't saying, I want to make money off playing football. Maybe his parents might have that sort of inclination that they go like, wow, look at the boat. That's sort of like a LeVar Ball. LeVar Ball sort of knew that, me and my wife are physically gifted and skilled as athletes, and, in the most likelihood, offspring's going to be skillful and athletically gifted. So, maybe in one of those situations, perhaps maybe the situation. I think purely if everything's cleared and everything's on a level basis, if you, if you play the sport for money, you're not going to succeed. And I really think that's with Trevor Lawrence as well. I guess sort of going with college as well, there's been sort of this influx with people getting injured in the lottery and not really affecting them at all. I'm very surprised. I remember ages ago in a lot of other drafts previous to the current draft coming up, that if you were injured, it was sort of suicide for your draft stock. It's going to plummet. That's the reason Joel Embiid went from 1 to 3. Yes, it's probably not a big difference. Financially, there's a big difference, but perhaps maybe just by numerically, it's not a big difference. But, he would have been the number one pick, but he had that foot injury. And that's why he dropped. And it seems now that injuries have just been accepted. If the guy's injured, it doesn't matter. And, we've seen that with players like Jonte Porter, Darius Garland, and Bobo most recently. Trey Jones even, you could say, getting injured for Duke. That these injuries are not really going to hinder their draft stock too drastically. Like, these mid-level draft picks, someone like a Jonte Porter or a Trey Jones, who, if you look at a lot of draft guys, see them mid-ish first-round picks, maybe like from, let's say, anywhere from 15 to 21. Sort of look at that range. And if you got injured back in the day, mate, you're in the back of the line. You're in the second round. Good luck trying to get out there. But now it's just like, we're just gonna cop it on the chin, and he'll be healthy and better. And it's a weird trend. Maybe the Philadelphia 76ers did it. They're following that method. Obviously, a lot of teams didn't do it last draft with Michael Porter Jr. I thought he should have gone to the Chicago Bulls at 7 it was. Even though Wendell Carter Jr. is good, he's a very good player. I think just sort of the ceiling that MPJ could have is ridiculous, and we'll wait to see how he goes. And but yeah, it is weird how these players that get injured in college are sort of just they'll get better eventually. And some of these injuries aren't too bad. I know Bol Bol's injured for I think it's like 10 weeks or something like that. So he should be back. No, 10 weeks. Something like it's like enough time for him to train at the combine, but it's the end of the season for him. But yeah, it's just. I'm still sort of annoyed by the whole Zion Williamson and Trevor Lawrence situation. It's always this thing that you got to keep, they're always trying to keep one eye on the future, and it's weird, especially because in this sort of time and age where everyone's trying to live in the moment, live your best life and all that stuff, it's weird that now there's it's sort of this contrasting trend of trying to keep one eye on the future and all that stuff. But if you want to, I guess another guy that people think has one eye to the future is Kyrie Irving. Mr. Kyrie Irving, the guy who actually had a shoe collab, I guess, with Nick Kyrgios. If you haven't checked it out, it's pretty cool concept. Too bad Nick Kyrgios got knocked out in the first round with scrub, but it's just what it is sometimes. But yeah, Kyrie Irving, what can we say about this guy? Used to believe in flat earth, but then said it was a joke. That's pretty much the bad thing. Everything else I love about Kyrie Irving. Australian. I think he's a single dad as well, he's not a single dad, so his dad was a single dad, which is pretty commendable. Transfer Kobe, which we see with Jason Tatum. Maybe training with Kobe's not the best. Maybe not the best, but Kyrie Irving it's sort of been in the news more. It's Kyrie Irving and the Celtics have basically been in the news or the sports cycle basically the whole year because they're playing and stuff. But more recently, Kyrie Irving has come into the forefront because he was reportedly. That's not the right phrase. He was reported to have called LeBron James. He was. I'm sort of like spacing out of it, man. But yeah, it's what you realize with the podcast. Like sometimes it's just like you're just like sort of in this like blank sort of mode sometimes. It's just what it. I don't know why I'm sort of like confessing it to you guys like this, but it's just what it is sometimes. But Kyrie Irving reportedly called LeBron James and apologized to him. I don't have a direct quote here, direct quotes here, because you don't really need his direct quotes to understand what he was saying. There's a lot of interpretations to what he said. People said, he was apologizing to LeBron James, which he was. I think it was very sincere and very gutsy to, apologize to someone that you said you didn't want to play with, and not only you didn't want to play with, this is not like a regular 12th man, 11th man play. This is, the best player in the world. And for you to say that is sort of an attack on his credibility, an attack on sort of his leadership. And, Kyrie called LeBron James and apologized, said he didn't realize how hard it was to be a leader, and that he was that young guy who thought he knew how to do everything. And then after taking over his own teams, realized that it's actually a lot harder and that he has a lot more respect for LeBron James. Yes, he did call LeBron James, and yes, he did apologize. But was that really what he was doing? Is that what he really was doing? Is that what he really was doing? Come on. He wasn't doing that. If you look at the records, you know what he said. And you know what he means. He's giving a straight middle finger to his Celtics teammates, saying, look at this, mate. I am LeBron James. See what I did there? I equated myself to the LeBron James. Like LeBron James at Cleveland, in Cleveland, LeBron James and the LeBron James. But at Boston, the LeBron James is me, Kyrie Irving. I am the man. And is there any doubting that? Yes, he is the best player. And again, I love Kyrie Irving. He's my favorite player to watch. Not only because he's Australian, but he's a shifty guy, not super athletic, but crafty. Very, very crafty. And it's just mesmerizing to watch this guy just do what he does on the court sometimes. But he can be not only a dick, but have sort of dickhead tendencies. But and that's sort of clear here. And some people are gonna be like, Jordan, you're reading too much into this man. Oh, he's not. He just wanted to apologize to LeBron James, blah blah blah. But no, he straight up gave the middle finger to his Celtics team. Straight up, you can't deny it. He's saying that he's LeBron James on the Celtics, and that you should all listen to me. How like I didn't listen to him. He's like, yes, I was like you, Jason Tatum. I was like you, Jaylen Brown. But you're not LeBron James yet. I'm LeBron James. So follow my lead, follow my leadership. But let's not forget why LeBron James had to be LeBron James. It's because that team was shite. They had no depth. Yes, they had two great players, including yourself, Curry. You were there. You were there. You were a great player. And Kevin Love was there. Not in the phone conversation where he apparently was having dinner with LeBron James, but he was also there on the team. But who else was on the team? Yes, there's the obvious, people, JR, Kyle Korver. But who else? And that's not a slight at any of these players. I like Richard Jefferson. I like Channing Tatum. I love Delhi. But who are we fooling here? This is not the same situation, Kyrie. It's not. Yes, you are both the best players on your team. Yes. Yes, you both have championship experience. Yes. But if LeBron James leaves, much like he has twice, left the Cavs, they sucked. And they sucked when you were on the team, Kyrie. And then he leaves the Cavs now, and they suck. Pretty bad, right? But let's not forget, let's not forget how it compares to you, Kyrie. Are you LeBron James? You get injured. Your team was one game away from making making the finals. One game away from making the finals. One game. Let me repeat. One game. And you know who they lost to? The Cavs. Without you. The Cavs. Without you. And they nearly made the finals. And the team that you left still made the finals. So if we just do the simple math, the team that you left still made it to the finals. And the team that you played for but was injured also nearly made the finals. So somehow you're part of two teams. But somehow without you, they nearly made the finals. And now the Celtics are, average 4 spot, I think. Anything below 3 is irrelevant to me right now. You're in the 4th spot, 5th spot, 6th spot. You could be in the 12th spot. I don't give a damn. Kyrie. Yes, again, I don't want to keep reiterating this. You are the best player in your team. But perhaps the best team is when you don't play with them. Because as I referred to last episode when I was coming at LeBron James for self-proclaiming the GOAT, Michael Jordan said it's not about the best player, it's about the best team. Yes, Kyrie, you're the best player. Give that middle finger to your team. Yes, I'm a multiple-time All-Star. Yes, I'm a gold medalist. Yes, I'm a world champion. Yes, I'm a NBA Finals champion. Yes, I hit the game, basically the game winner in Game 7. Yes, you did all that. You did. And you should be proud. I'm proud of you for being proud of yourself. But the Celtics are just sort of better without you. Aren't they? They just might be better. Gordon Hayward's best games are without you. Jason Tatum steps up. Terry Rozier's like, I can average more than 9 points now. All of that. All of it. Kyrie. Recognize your place. Put your ego in check, son. And recognize that you ain't like that. You ain't. You ain't like that. And I don't think I'm the only one that doesn't think you're like that. Because now there's a lot of speculation that you might leave. You might leave. Yes, we know you're a free agent. But what was it? At the start of this season? Or actually before the start of this season, you proclaimed, I'm planning to re-sign. And yes, I see what you did there, Kyrie. Planning to re-sign. Didn't say I am going to re-sign, planning to re-sign. You know, it's like that classic thing. If you've seen there's a lot of those self-help books where they're like, say, you know, be definitive with your tone, believe in yourself. You know, don't say I'm going to do this. Say I am doing this. Don't say I want to. Say I am. Did you say that, Kyrie? I am going to sign with the Boston Celtics? Or did you say something else? Something more convoluted, something that up to interpretation. What? Something that, oh yes, I want to. I want to work out. I want to eat healthy. I want to sign with the Boston Celtics. But we all know. We all know that, you know, you left it up to chance. You left it up to the basketball gods, perhaps. And now all these articles and people, pundits, reporters, journalism, TV personalities are coming out and insinuating that perhaps that Kyrie Irving could go to the Lakers. Oh god, I nearly vomited at that thought. Go to the Lakers. And on so many levels, that's going to be ridiculous. I don't believe that's going to happen. I think he's going to go to the New York Knicks. I think he's going to go there. Obviously, the New York Knicks will have to do a lot of things, including trying to free up some more cap space so they can start a second superstar, whilst also tanking so they can get, you know, a Zion or an RJ Barrett or, you know, something like that. But and then in line with that, I would say that Brooklyn would be a close favorite, but I think what we've seen from D Russell, especially with that 40-point game that he had today, that, you know, maybe they want to hold on to D Russ and see how that goes. But you know, people are suggesting that Kyrie might go to the Lakers, which, if you're a Boston fan, you vomit at the thought. And I'm not even I like the Boston Celtics. I wouldn't say I'm a fan to any particular team because I'm not from America, so I really have no allegiance with any teams. So for people coming at me saying, oh, well, you're a fake basketball fan because you don't support a team. Yes. I don't support any team. I'm not a fake fucking fan, though. And never come at me with that bullshit. Because I don't live in the area. I don't have any affiliations. If anything, the only affiliations I would have would be with the Lakers, I guess. Because I have a lot of family that live in California. And that family in California got me a Los Angeles Lakers snapback. So maybe that's what I have to claim. But then maybe I claim that I'm a fan of Golden State. Because that same sentiment's true. Family in Golden in the Bay Area. And they bought me a hat. Not a snapback. More like a baseball cap, a strap back, which is, I'll be honest, a lot more sexier than the Lakers hat. And the basketball team's a lot more sexier than the Lakers, you know. So, sort of works out maybe I should be a Golden State fan. But, nevertheless, yeah, Kyrie, man, if you're the man and you go back to LeBron James, not crawling back to LeBron James like that, you lost all respect to me. And, you know, that's not sort of shitting on you for wanting to win a championship, because I feel like you guys would have a extreme advantage to win a championship. one with the experience, and two, just the team's a lot better, you know. And there's no slight at being the number 2 player on your team. There's no slight in that. We've seen that with a lot of people. Scottie Pippen, regarded as one of the best defenders of all time. But we don't forget that he was second to Michael Jordan, and we don't hate him on that. Kobe Bryant and Shaq. We love Kobe Bryant. We love him. But let's not forget those first 3 championships. Shaq was the man. Let's not forget about that. Kevin McHale, one of the best power forwards of all time. We love Kevin McHale. Let's not forget there was some guy from Indiana that was lighting it up on that team. And that man's Larry Bird. That man is Larry Bird. We love James Worthy. We love him. He's worthy. He wasn't better than Magic. Man, he wasn't even better than Kareem. But we still love him. We still love him. But yeah, this whole Kyrie Irving situation so messed up. And I think if I was gonna bet, he would re-sign with the Celtics. But putting your middle finger up to your team like that, it's pretty disrespectful. And I think they just have too much talent, and their coach is too good not to figure it out. And I did say in my previews that the Celtics is my favorite team to win the championship. I think there's just so much talent on the team, but I guess I didn't account for the massive egos on that team. Let it be, Kyrie or I didn't even address Jaylen Brown and Marcus Morris getting into it. There's so many interlinking parts on that team that could either render it to be successful or not. So we'll leave it to rest there, and let's be honest, we're probably going to talk about it at another juncture, even before the trade deadline. I remember my dad was like, "Oh, I think they should trade Kyrie Irving," which, upon initial reaction, I'm like, "That's stupid." But then again, interesting nonetheless. Another interesting team that is sort of struggling, and not even, I don't know why I said sort of. They are struggling, and that's the Oklahoma City Thunder. Slow start, very slow start, and that's because they didn't have Russell. Slow start, and then ballistic, I guess, streak after that, and then now they're on another. They've lost 6 or 7, I think it is now. Recently, just lost to the Lakers. I'm not going to talk about the Lakers today because I don't think they're Mando, but OKC struggling. Russ 7 from 30. Not good. PG played very well in the first 3 quarters. Didn't record a point in the next 17 minutes of the game. Steven Adams. I love Steven Adams. But he got daddied by Ivica Zubac. What do we make of this OKC team? I don't know. I don't know what to make of this team because there's so much talent. People even thought that Steven Adams could be an all-star. And, I would say at this rate, if you're going to select the all-star teams, I would say that Paul George and Russell Westbrook would probably be on it. I think they would be on it. Deservingly? I think so. In the most part. But, it's just one of those teams that's just frustrating, Everyone thought they turned the corner. They're like, look, Russ is more of a playmaker now. Paul George is a lot more assertive, and now, they're going through this rough patch. And let's be honest, not a lot of teams, majority of teams go through a rough patch throughout the season. It's just hard to be consistent like that. It's just hard. And do I think OKC is going to turn it around? Yeah, I would like to believe in OKC, but it was funny, watching the broadcast. Charles Barkley had a very good point. They're like the pretty girl that's dumb. Everyone's attracted to them. Everyone likes them. Everyone wants to be with them. But then really they have no depth. They have no personality. And, they're probably not the one that you're going to be with for the long haul. It was actually very funny to listen to that on the broadcast, because I was like, geez, it's a very, very interesting metaphor to bring up, but very true at the same time. Good on your Bucks. But yeah, I don't know what to think of the OKC Thunder. I think, jeez, I just said I don't know what to think, and then I say I think. The OKC Thunder, if anything, it's become more clear that they might need a coaching change. Billy Donovan, great college coach, one of the most esteemed college coaches, but I think it's just, in college, you can boss around the kids because they're kids. And then when it gets to the pros, again, the ego gets into play of it, money gets into the way of it, and, it's sort of harder to coach like that. I think maybe they might need a more experienced coach, or a bit more of an assertive coach. But yeah, it's just like, it's one of those problems where it's like, maybe they just don't have enough talent. Or maybe when Roberson comes back, it's going to show up the defense a lot more. But even defensively, they're still, pretty good. Terrence Ferguson, I like. Shout out to the guy. Shout out to the temporary Aussie. Play for the Adelaide 36ers. I call him the temporary Aussie boy. Patrick Patterson. Okay, he's okay. Schroeder looks good. But just as a whole, the team, it just doesn't make sense why this team is not destroying the teams they need to be. And that's sort of one of the more essential traits for a championship team. You beat the teams you need to beat, and then you stay competitive / beat the teams that are hard. And yes, I think the Lakers are good, but they didn't have LeBron James. They probably don't have another All-Star on that team. You have 2 All-Stars with 0 All-Stars, so maybe you should have beat them. The Atlanta Hawks, they dropped 142 points in your home court. The Atlanta Hawks, the team that's purposely trying to lose. Think about that logically. A team that's trying to lose is versing a playoff team, and they win, and not only win, but drop 142 points. That is one of the worst reflections you can have on the OKC Thunder. And do I think they're going to turn around for a stretch? Of course, I think so. They definitely are. But I think what's the most important part is how's the team going to transpire in the playoffs. And if they are this team that's hot and cold, and then have this sort of median of consistency, then they're going to fail. They're just going to fail. It's going to be upsetting if they fail. Because that's basically the team they're going to have for ages. And there is not a lot of moves that they could really make to improve it. So they're stuck with a mediocre team. And if you've been listening to the podcast for a while, that is the worst place to be. The no man's land team. The team they could make, they always competitive. They make the playoffs, but make no noise. And because of that, they have a lot of money attached to the team already, so they can't make any changes. And they're still slightly too good. So they get a mediocre draft pick where the odds of, hitting on it is a lot harder than it is with the, top 5 picks and stuff like that. So, we'll see how OKC is. Again, it is, just over halfway through the season. So you would think that what the teams are now is sort of what the teams are going to be more or less in the future. But who knows, they could sort of change up a bit. We'll see how that sort of goes. Another team that's in no man's land, the Memphis Grizzlies. Amazing start. I even like this. Their start to the season was so amazing. I was like, Mike Conley's finally gonna be an All-Star. He's finally gonna be an All-Star. It's probably gonna be hard for him to be an All-Star now because I think they're coming second last. It's gonna be a bit hard to be an All-Star when you're second last. But yeah, another team that's a no man's land team, and really the sheer definition of a no man's land team, where they try to stay competitive. And it's sort of unfortunate because they are in the West, and if they're in the East, they probably would be a playoff team. I guess that's probably something that needs to draw to the attention of Adam Silver, because the Western Conference is so overly competitive, while the Eastern Conference is very top heavy. So a lot of teams are missing out in the West who, I would say more or less are deserving to be in the playoffs. But that's sort of another conversation for another day. But yeah, the Grizzlies, a lot of money to Gasol, a dumb amount of money to Mike Conley. A shining spot on their team is Jaren Jackson Jr., Triple J. You get that joke if you're from Australia. But yeah, he's been playing well. He's sort of a bright spot, and I think definitely a piece that they could center their rebuild around. But yeah, in just regards to the Memphis Grizzlies, like, what do you sort of do with that team? They're not popular, they're not flashy, they're not exciting, and the team as it stands right now is not in the playoffs. They've exiled Chandler Parsons, who I like Chandler Parsons. He's got that freaky fridge. If anyone's seen that video where all his mates are trying to open the fridge and the fridge just doesn't open and he can open it. But yeah, they exiled him and they gave him a bad contract. So we know that the GM situation, maybe not the GM as a whole, but sort of the management situation is maybe not the best. It's just one of those teams, man. It's just one of those teams that they need to sort of figure out a path and a direction, and especially if they do have their pick. They do have their pick. I think it's top 5 protected, which is very important because they don't let the Celtics get their pick. I think, which, God, if the Celtics are just getting picks left, right, and center, Jesus Christ, but. They're gonna try and make some moves. I think. The big move that people are saying is to try and get rid of Gasol. Gasol as a player, I think, still had a decent amount of value. He was really Jokic before Jokic, if people remember. He was Jokic. Maybe the stats don't reflect that he was Jokic, but he was sort of Jokic but better defensively. Very good defensively. I think he was Defensive Player of the Year at one point. Very, very good defensively. But yeah, it's just not what it is anymore, and I think he can be effective on another team, a team that might want to shore up its front court. People think he could get traded for his brother Powell, which would be sort of the whole serendipity and sort of the full circle of life, and how he got traded for his brother and all this stuff. But I don't think Marc Gasol wants to leave. I think he liked it there. I think he had a lot of opportunities to leave in the free agency and stuff like that. But he's decided to stay. So I don't think he wants to leave. Conley, is anyone really gonna want to chew up that massive contract? I don't know. It's a mouthful to chew, really. Yeah, Memphis it's just one of those teams, isn't it? Just one of those teams. I'll close, the podcast by basking in the awe that is Golden State. It's over, isn't it? It's just over for the NBA season this year. And I like how Jalen Rose said the regular season was back. Did say that in my last podcast. A bit too late there, Jalen Rose. But, we all know that, they're back. People were sort of skeptical. They had a lot of iffy losses, but Curry's just come to his own. Chef Curry's back with the pop boy. He's just wet from the 3-point line. Wet. He's dripping. And if everyone was worried about Klay Thompson missing threes, don't be worried anymore. The guy's drenched. He's shooting tsunamis out there. He's not wet. He's like a natural disaster, mate. This guy, ridiculous. And then Kevin Durant, we know. We saw, today, Boogie Cousins came back. Fouled out in 15 minutes. Take that for what it was. But he did score 16 points in 15 minutes, which is very impressive. Gives them a whole other dynamic. And the guy shot 3 threes. Think about it. If your center's contributing 3 threes, and let's say that's what he averages a game, 3 threes a game, and then that's on top of the existing 5 threes that probably Curry averages, probably Klay averages about the same. Kevin Durant's probably good for 4. You nearly got 20 threes. You're nearly averaging 23 23-point field goals made a game. Average. And that's not even including the players on the bench. Iggy's good for a 3. Draymond, I don't know about Draymond, but Quinn Cook. Jeez, who else did have on that bench? I don't know. Their bench is weak as hell. They really. That's probably their only weakness is their bench. But besides that, man, you could probably play Curry, Durant. You could play the big four. You can even say big five. Chuck Draymond in there. Chuck all those five in there. You could just play them 48 minutes. It's you don't even need them to be being subbed off, especially in the playoffs. But they are just ridiculous, and I don't think any team's really going to be able to stop them, which is probably concerning. Probably very concerning for a lot of teams. It'll be good. I think the journey is very exciting to see who makes it out of the East and who the Golden State Warriors face in the West. But at the end of the day, the story's been written. Print sealed, delivered. The Golden State Warriors are going to win the championship. They're just freaks, man. They're just freaks. They are just freaks. But I end the podcast here. Thanks for listening and thanks for tuning in. Saw a big influx of downloads recently, so hopefully, it's good that if it's a lot of new listeners, but it's even better if it's the old listeners coming back. I'm obviously off my hiatus, so maybe a lot of people don't know either, but if you want to contact me further, you can find me on Twitter at 23shotsofJD. DM me, tweet me any questions, queries, anything you want me to talk about on the podcast. On top of that, if you don't like Twitter, you don't use Twitter, or you don't have Twitter, you can find me via email, which is probably the phrase that you shouldn't use. Find me via email is that you can email me via the email address 23shotsofjd@gmail.com. As well, you can find me on Instagram. Just type in 23shotsofjd and it will come up. That's not my username, but if you type in 23shotsofjd, it will come up on Instagram with my profile. You can check it out. Chuck me a follow. If you do want a direct response, that's probably the best way to contact me, because I do like to be on Instagram a lot. And shout out to all the listeners who've been following me on Instagram. I see you guys supporting, trying to get in contact with me, so that's pretty great. Thanks to you guys. Anything else I was gonna say? If you're one of the listeners that likes to listen to the podcast immediately, sorry it is coming a bit late. I just had to do some errands and stuff in the morning, and just apologies. I should have been better organized, but interesting podcast. And thank God that fucking basketball is just a crazy sport with a lot of headlines. Just thank God for that. Besides that,